There was a time when Sears wasn't just successful, it was untouchable. If you lived in America or Canada, Sears was part of your life whether you realized it or not. They sold your clothes, your tools, your appliances, your furniture, and even your house. Sears once controlled more of the US economy than Google, Amazon, or Meta ever have. And yet today, most people under 25 have never stepped inside one. Sears didn't collapse because people stopped shopping. It collapsed because the company forgot why people shopped there in the first place. And once that happened, the fall was inevitable. Sears began in 1892, at a time when America looked nothing like it does today. Most Americans lived far from cities. There were no malls, no highways, and no big retail chains. Shopping meant traveling long distances for basic goods. So Sears did something revolutionary. They brought the store to the customer. The Sears catalog wasn't just a book, it was a lifeline. It offered transparent pricing, nationwide delivery, and products rural Americans couldn't access locally. And it worked phenomenally. By the early 1900s, Sears was shipping millions of products across the country, using one of the most advanced logistics networks in existence. They mastered warehousing, inventory management, and distribution at scale as well. And this was all long before computers existed. And then Sears did something even crazier. They sold entire houses. Sears kit homes came with pre-cut lumber, nails, plumbing, and blueprints. Over 70,000 homes were built this way, and many of them still stand today. Sears wasn't just selling products, it was building the American middle class. As America urbanized, Sears adapted again. Instead of rural catalogs, they moved into cities. Instead of mail order, they built department stores. And not just any stores. Sears became the anchor tenant of American malls. If you went shopping, Sears was there. By the 1950s and 60s, Sears was the largest retailer in the world. It was one of the most trusted brands in America, and its employees had stable careers, not just jobs. Sears even created famous in-house brands such as Kenmore, Craftsman, and Die Hard. These weren't generic labels. They were symbols of quality. If it came from Sears, people trusted it. This is critical, because trust is the hardest thing in retail to earn. And Sears had it completely. But dominance created a dangerous illusion. And it was the illusion that Sears would always win. By the 1970s, Sears had no serious competition. And that was the beginning of the end. Because once companies stopped fearing competitors, they stopped fearing customers. Sears' leadership grew comfortable. Innovation slowed. Decision-making became bureaucratic. And their stores stopped evolving. But instead of fixing retail, Sears started chasing prestige. They bought insurance companies, financial services, real estate ventures, and credit card businesses. At one point, Sears owned Allstate Insurance and Dean Witter. They were becoming a financial conglomerate, not a retailer. This mattered because retail is brutal, margins are thin, and customer expectations constantly rise. You must reinvest or die. Sears chose to diversify instead of improve. Meanwhile, competitors like Walmart focused obsessively on price, efficiency, and customer convenience. Sears still had brand power, but it was slowly eroding. Customers didn't feel excited anymore. They felt indifferent, and indifference is fatal. By the 1990s, walking into Sears felt different. The stores were darker, layouts were confusing, and employees were much harder to find. Nothing was terrible yet, but nothing felt great either. And that's how long collapses begin. Quietly. Sears was still profitable, but only because of financial engineering, not strong retail performance. Instead of asking, how do we make this store better? Leadership asked, how do we make the numbers look better? And that mindset would soon attract someone very dangerous. In 2005, hedge fund billionaire Eddie Lampert took control of Sears. To Wall Street, he looked brilliant. He had successfully invested in Kmart after its bankruptcy. and people believed he could do the same for Sears. But Lampert didn't love retail. He loved assets. To him, Sears wasn't a business. It was valuable land, valuable brands, and valuable balance sheets. Lampert merged Sears with Kmart, not to improve customer experience, but to cut costs aggressively. He cut down on staff, store maintenance, inventory investment, and innovation budgets. And then he did something unprecedented. He forced departments to compete internally, like separate companies fighting for survival. Instead of cooperation, Sears created civil war. This destroyed morale. Employees stopped caring. Stores deteriorated faster, and customers noticed. This is where the story becomes tragic, because Sears actually had everything Amazon needed. They had warehouses everywhere, physical locations near customers, massive logistics experience, and a trusted national brand. Sears could have dominated e-commerce, but instead, they underinvested. Their website lagged behind competitors. Delivery was slow, and inventory systems were outdated. While Amazon reinvested relentlessly, Sears extracted value. This is the single biggest difference between companies that survive and companies that die. Amazon played offense, while Sears played defense. And defense never wins long-term. By the 2010s, Sears was visibly failing. Their stores were empty. Shelves weren't stocked. And on top of that, they wouldn't even fix their escalators when they broke. Each year, fewer customers returned. More stores closed, and more brands were sold off. In 2018, Sears filed for bankruptcy. A company that once defined American commerce was now reduced to headlines about store closures. Sears didn't die because Amazon existed. It died because leadership stopped believing in customers. They believed that numbers mattered more than experience, assets mattered more than loyalty, and short-term value mattered more than long-term survival. Retail is simple. Serve customers better than anyone else or disappear. And Sears forgot that, and history erased them for it. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. It helps a ton. I post multiple stories like this one every week. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next video.